I don't blame you, sir. I don't blame you. I'm not gonna talk to you anymore kasi ayokong lalo ka madiin dito. Sorry. Dapat periodically, kayo dyan sa Bureau of Customs, nag-inspect the moment nag-file ng entry up to dating sa bodega na dapat may CCTV na yung mga produktong pinasok ng libre sa tax.
Mr. Senator, I'm actually I have to be frank po.
The third and Miss Amelita Escobar. From the National Economic and Development Authority, we have Assistant Director Richard Emerson D. Balester and Miss Irene Angela V. Cuya. From the Board of Investments, we have Attorney Eligene D.C. Portoza. From Clark Development Corporation, we have Attorney Agnes De Vanadera and Attorney Gail Barin. From the American Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines Incorporated, we have Attorney Michael Montero. From the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Philippines Incorporated, we have Mr. Shigeru Shimoda. From the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, we have Mr. Tereso O. Panga. From Chevron Philippines Incorporated, we have Attorney Ruth Santiago Loyola. From the Philippine Exporters Confederation Incorporated, we have Mr. Oscar A. Barrera. From the Semiconductor and Electronics Industries in the Philippines Foundation Incorporated, we have Dr. Danilo Lachica. From the Confederation of Wearable Exporters of the Philippines, we have Ms. Rosarito Carillo. And from the Action for Economic Reforms, we have Ms. Ella Leliamo. That will be all, Your Honor.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Today we'll be hearing three items, three Senate resolutions that were filed. One is Senate Resolution 567, entitled the Resolution Directing the Committee on Ways and Means to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the apparent inconsistency between the provision of the CREATE law granting incentives to registered business enterprise vis-a-vis its implementing rules and regulations and other issuances issued in relation thereto. And then authored by yours truly. And then Senate Resolution 244, entitled a resolution directing the Senate Committee on Ways and Means to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the imposition of the value-added tax on importation and local purchases of goods and services directly and exclusively used in the registered project or activity of domestic market enterprises in special economic zones, authored by Senator Aquilino Pimentel III. And the last resolution that will be tackled today is Senate Resolution 219, resolution calling for the Senate to convene the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program for the purpose of remediating the apparent inconsistency between the CREATE law and its implementing rules and regulations. So basically all three resolutions talks about one thing, the inconsistency between the law and the IRR. The last Senate Resolution 219 is authored by Senator Rizzo Hontiveros. The resolution by Senator Hontiveros called for the convening of the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program. Unfortunately, the House hasn't manifested the members of this joint oversight committee. In the Senate, we have already manifested our members so that we can convene this joint oversight committee. However, the House has done so. So the Senate Ways and Means Committee, through its inherent powers, will conduct motu proprio an oversight over the implementation of the CREATE law. Today, aside from the three resolutions that we'll be covering, we recognize the presence of Senator Raffy Tulpo. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Today, aside from the three resolutions that we'll be covering, we plan to cover the implementation of the CREATE law particularly on the operations of FIRB, the expanded operations of FIRB, particularly also focusing on the incentives that were given and being given to businesses and potential investors that are coming into the country. At the same time, we also want to see the cost-benefit analysis of these incentives. As we all know, CREATE is a reform that was implemented during the last administration, and the reform aims to streamline, simplify, put performance-based, time-bound mechanisms into the grant of incentives. So we want to look at the benefit that the country is enjoying through the grant of these incentives. So we want to learn that. We also invited stakeholders who are already operating in the Philippines, and also organizations that are geared towards inviting potential investors to come to our country. And these organizations have vast experiences in terms of operating in the country, as well as how to use incentives to make their products and services competitive. And hopefully in the future we can use that selling point of competitiveness to attract future investors to the country. But admittedly, the law is far from perfect. We have a lot of challenges, a lot of inconsistencies, as what the resolutions pointed out, a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of issues, and a lot of real challenges. And we want to discuss that and hear it from the stakeholders themselves, no? Because the stakeholders are obviously the frontliners. They're also in touch with real companies who are operating here in our country. So we want to hear their thoughts and their challenges and the issues that they are facing in terms of operating and on terms of requesting for incentives to be granted. However, the update on the implementation of CREATE and the issues are not in the, admittedly, are not in the agenda. So we will issue later on a supplemental agenda so that we will cover the update on the implementation of CREATE and also the issues. But since the three resolution covers the inconsistency, and we also invited the stakeholders here, we will talk about the inconsistency first and then segue into the issues and challenges. And then on the third part, we will talk about the updates on the grant of incentives as well as the cost-benefit analysis. We might not finish all of these things today, no? Because I think the issues and challenges are quite heavy, and we have a lot of things to cover. If we will not cover it today, then we can talk about the updates on a later hearing. So with that, we're very honored and privileged that we're joined by Senator Raffy Tulpo. And any opening statements, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason why I attended today's hearing kasi nakita ko sa resolution nabanggit doon special economic zone. And that's where I'm very interested in. Kasi po, ginagago tayo for the longest time nitong mga locator sa special economic zone. And I'll tell you later how and why. Mr. Chair, meron ba tayo na-invite dito ng mga taga Bureau of Customs? Kasi Bureau of Customs and BIR are conniving para proliferate itong mga bogus na locators, and they're not paying taxes. They import products, raw materials, free of duties and taxes, with the precondition that those raw materials will be re-exported. But hindi po na-re-export. Paper export lang po ang nangyari. And then, binibenta dito locally yung mga finished product or sometimes yung raw materials. And yung mga importers, supposed to be, kikita yung bayan natin dahil sa kanilang income tax. Pero paano? Namomonitor ba ng BIR? Itong mga may-ari ng locators? How does the BIR monitors these locators? Kasi the only time that we make money, the country makes money is through the income tax being paid by these locators. In fact, I have list here of some companies na may violation na sa BIR, and I need to know ano na ang nangyari sa mga kasong ito. And I need from the BIR a list of these locators na padalahan ng LOA, Letter of Authority. Ano ang follow-up? May nangyari ba o nagkaaregluhan? Ang LOA, Mr. Chair, dito nagiging talamak ang korupsyon. Pinapadala ng sulat ang earring company o locator para pumunta sa opisina ng BIR, magpakita ng mga dokumento na siya ay nagbayad at nag-comply sa requirement ng BIR para magbayad ng tamang buwis. At pagdating doon sa BIR, nagkakaregluhan. That's why I need a list of those companies that were issued LOA and what happened to it. I need a list of those. And then, gusto ko rin po malaman kung meron ng mga nakasuhan na napadala ng letter of authority. Meron na bang nakasuhan o hanggang warning lamang? Kung may nakasuhan, anong nangyari sa kasong yon? Another issue, Mr. Chair, na gusto ko i-raise ay yung ukay-ukay na pumapasok sa PEZA, Special Economic Zone, declared as raw materials to make rugs or to recycle rugs. Pero wag ka, ang laman noon, ukay-ukay. Libre sa buwis. Ni singkong duling walang binabayad na buwis. And then mind nyo, yung ukay-ukay na yon, those are discarded second-hand or used clothing sa ibang bansa, Hong Kong, Japan, US, Canada, Australia. Yung po yung mga basura na ng mga damit na imbis na i-recycle, meron kasi mga scheduled for discarding used clothing sa iba't ibang bansa at pinipick up para i-recycle, pero instead na i-recycle, pinapadala itong basura. We have PD 2033 in 1986 na sinasabing bawal ang pagpasok ng used clothing sa bansa. We have RA 4653 na sinasabing bawal ang pagpasok ng mga used clothing sa bansa except to donate sa mga victims ng calamities. At bakit nagkalat itong ukay-ukay sa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas? And BIR and Customs na doing about it. May kinikita ba tayo BIR? Alam niyo ba kung sinong nagpapasok nito mga ukay-ukay? Ni singkong duling, wala kinikita tayo dito. That's why I passed a resolution, a bill na para buwesan na itong ukay-ukay para pagkakitaan naman ng ating gobyerno. But for now, I challenge the BOC and the BIR do something. Kaya nga pinagbawal yan, alam niyo itong batas na ito, dahil it can cause diseases. Those are used clothing. Yun ay mga tinapon na sa basurahan. Tinapon na yan sa dumpsters. At pinulot ng mga magagaling na Pilipino sa ibang bansa at may contact sila para i-ship dito libre. Ito po, Mr. Chair. I need to ask the BIR directly right now. Victoria Wave Special Economic Zone dyan sa may Caloocan. And in October 2021, July 13, excuse me, pumunta po yung mga taga-BIR para inspect itong binanggit kong kumpanya dahil sa tad na violation. Ang tanong, Ano na nangyari doon sa pagbisita ng BIR noong July 13 dito sa company ito, OPMC. Meron ba isang matapang dito? Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Senator Raffy. I apologize, Your Honor. We don't have the information right now, but we are already asking the concerned Revenue District Office, which conducted the investigation, to provide us information, and we will provide the committee once the data or information are available.
Meron pang isa. Si Commissioner Romeo Lumagul Jr., he was the one who inspected the factories inside the One Subic Premier Manufacturing Corporation. Okay? At marami siyang nakitang tad-tad na violation. What happened to that inspection? Anong naging resulta? Show it to us. Show it to us na hindi moro-moro lang yung ginawa niyang mga inspeksyon. Kasi Mr. Chair, meron po ako suggest. Siguro it's about time the Congress and the Senate should have an oversight committee na lahat ng LOA na ini-issue ng BIR at Bureau of Customs kinakailangan monitored natin. Kasi dito sa letter of authority, ang kumikita lamang yung earring officials, yung earring companies na napadala ng LOA at yung agency nag-issue ng LOA. Example, Mr. Chair. Ang deficiency is 1 million. For the sake of argument, lilitang ko lang. 1 million, papadala ng LOA. Magre-report kayo na padala ng LOA. Sasabihin, boss, yung 1 million hindi ko kaya, etc., etc. Sasabihin ng agency nagpadala ng LOA, magkanong kaya mo? Boss, ang kaya ko lang is 20,000. Dagdagan mo. Boss, ang kaya ko lang 100, last. O sige. Yung 900, discounted na. Pero yung 100,000, 50 for you and 50 for the government. Maghati yung agency at kung sino man nagpadalang LOA at sasabihin yung kalahati, kahit papaano, may resibo, kikita ang gobyerno. Ganon po yung kalokohan sa LOA. Alam niyo po itong taga-BIR at taga-Bureau of Customs. That's the reason what I would like to happen, Mr. Chair, you being the chairman committee, and I'm being the vice, na dapat magkaroon na talaga. Sir, excuse me, I'm talking. Paano ko ma-concentrate, sir, kung nagsalita ka na ano ako? Okay. Well, then, you want to talk? Go ahead, sir. Okay. Sa Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Chair, siguro it's about time mag-create tayo ng tinatawag na oversight to make sure lahat po ng LOA ay legit, hindi po ginagamit para lamang mangikil, para magamit lamang sa korupsyon. And we have a member of the PEZA here, Mr. Terezo. Okay. Ano po kayo dun sa PEZA?
Sir, I am the Director General of PEZA.
Ilan po ang locator sa PEZA ninyo?
There's about more than 3,000 locators.
3,000. Now, don't tell me, dyan sa 3,000 locators ninyo, walang violators dyan na flag down ng customs at BIR. Don't tell me. Meron, tama, mali.
Well, we have been receiving copies of the laws issued by BIR and BOCs. So we're willing to
Kaya nga,
coordinate
so
with
what
them.
happened to those LOAs?
Wala pa akong feedback from the
See?
issuances.
You see, Mr. Chair? Ano na nga sa mga LOAs? Wala pang feedback. Wala pa kasi nagkaaregluhan na. At alam mo yung sinasabi kanina, Mr. Pangap, mag-import ng raw materials free of duties and taxes with the condition na yan i-re-export. At doon kikita ang gobyerno dahil magpa-file ng income tax yung may-ari ng locator. Kaya dapat BIR, lahat na may-ari ng locator minomonitor ninyo. Yung ini-import ng, tuturuan ko kayo, kuha kayo ng ballpen at papel. Hindi ako nabibiro. Get a pencil and paper. Lahat ng mga ini-import na mga locator, kasi free of duties and taxes yan. I'll give you an example. Mag-export ng 1 million worth of, say, tela para gawin ng long sleeve. Kasama sa tela dyan, kung ilang yarda, nandyan yung butones, sinulid, etc. 1 million. Sa kondisyon yan ay i-re-export after na magawa na. Pero wag ka, hindi i-re-export yan. Kasi nga, wala nga naman talagang silang processing factory in the first place. At bakit na-aprobahan ng customs? Now, dapat yan, sa scheduled re-exporting ng finished product, nandyan dapat yung BIR, binubuksan yung container. Tama? At kung nakalusot man yan, yung may-ari ng locator, tatanungin mo, yung pinasok mo na worth 1 million na raw materials, may records dyan, may computation kayo dapat dyan, kung magkano yan kapag naging finished product na. Finished products, those materials. And then magkano maging income tax ng locator. Ganun lang po kasimple. Kaso, Mr. Chair, hindi nangyayari eh. Kaya dapat, it's time that we have revisit our law regarding these locators because it's being abused. It's being abused. Meron pang isang locator dito sa may bandang Caloocan. Mr. Chair, paano tayo hindi ma-high blood dito, Mr. Chair? Libre ang importation ng kahit anong produkto. And then kapag nire-export, libre, exempted sa corporate tax. Sana ma. Saan ka nakita niyan? At pwede pa sila maka-discount sa mga empleyado. Andito lahat. We have to revisit this law that created these locators. Ulitin ko, libre tax, walang duties and taxes sa pagpasok ng raw materials para gawing finished product. Ang raw materials na yon. Pag na-export na, halimbawa talagang na-export, ang kikitain lang sana ng gobyerno sa income tax ng kumpanya na yon. Pero, in-exempt natin yung corporate income tax. And adding insult to injury, pati sa mga empleyado, allowed sila na magkaroon ng discount sa bayad. Pwede sila mag-underpay. Totoo yan. And I have proof. We have to revisit that law. Andito si Attorney Agnes de Venadera. Ma'am, kumusta po dyan sa SBMA? SBMA kayo, tama? Ay, sorry, Clark.
Sa Clark
tama?
po. Sa Clark po.
So, ilan na po ang mga na-issuean ng LOA dyan sa Clark sa pagkakaalam nyo?
Mr. Senator, wala po akong hawak na listahan. Pero alam ko pong merong nai-issuehan. Kaya lang po, hindi po, I have to be very candid na wala po ako nung listahan.
Kaya nga, pero di ba dapat, ma'am, pag merong mga na-issuean ng mga violators dyan, you should be concerned and you should be updated. Para malaman mo kung sino dyan mga hausyaw or mga illegal. And then that's where you have to act. Kung nakita nyo na ito paulit-ulit na issue ng LOA and then something must be wrong with this locator and then I have to cancel his locator permit. Am I right or am I right?
Mr. Senator, doon po sa Clark Development Corporation, meron po kaming division, yung TFD na sinasabi namin. And they are in charge of monitoring all the importations of raw materials. Yung po sinasabi nyo, tama po kayo doon. At meron din pong proseso na ginagawa yung aming TFD division para po makita kung ang raw materials na inimport ay naipasok dun sa finished products. Meron pong ganon. And in fact, Mr. Senator, it is we have on several occasions suspended the authority to operate, Mr. Senator.
Okay. Attorney de Venadera, marami sa mga locators nyo dyan sa Clark na wala silang processing factory. Right? You agree? Kasi pag sinabi mo you don't agree with me, then mapapahiya po kay madam.
Meron po kaming mga na-monitor na walang operations at yung pong mga walang operations ay amin pong inaaksyonan na hindi mabigyan ng authority to operate kasi wala pong operations.
Salamat at hindi po kayo nagsinungaling. Kaya nga po, ang ibig sabihin, marami mga locators sa Pilipinas, sa different special economic zone, na nabigyan ng permit na hindi dapat sapagkat wala silang processing plant. Kasi ang condition yan, the raw materials are imported free of taxes and duties for you to process it into finished product para ma-re-export at kikita yung Pilipinas. Pero how can they process that when they don't have a planta? And alam yan, nyo dyan sa SBMA, alam ng BIR, alam ng Bureau of Customs. Naglulukuhan tayo. We have to stop this. Kailangan imbestigahan talaga to, Mr. Chair. Itong mga free special economic zone, dito po talamak, billions and billions of pesos every year ang nawawala sa gobyerno, andyan sa special economic zone. Ang kumikita lang yung mga smuggler at ilan mga taga-customs at BIR. Mr. Chair, sana po magkaroon pa ng isang hearing na next time patawag po natin ang Bureau of Customs. Last question na lang po sa mga taga-BIR since nandito kayo. Ilan na po ang mga LOA na issue ninyo sa mga locators? How many LOAs? Magkano pong pinakamataas na diferensya? At ano po nangyari doon? I need a list.
Mr. Chair,
Can you provide us?
Senator Raffy, we will include that information po when we submit the requested information next hearing or as soon as possible. As soon as
And then
we get the information.
You should have a list of all the locators in the whole Philippines.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Libo yan. So, ang tanong ko sa iyo, meron ba kayong way para ma-monitor kung ilan itong mga locators na ito, nasaan sila?
The investment promotion agencies are mandated to submit the list of locators in their respective jurisdictions. So we can have that list, Your Honor.
And then, paano nyo po na-monitor na itong mga locators na ito ay nagbabayad ng buwis? Is there a way for you to monitor that?
Yes, sir. They are along with the one of the information that they have to submit to BIR are tax payments. So we can have that also.
Nadudoktor naman po yung tax payments. I'll tell you what, Mr. Balastre III, pag sa scheduled exportation nila ng kanilang finished products, alam naman ng Bureau of Customs, puntahan nyo, especially itong mga high-valued, sinasabing raw materials na pinasok ng walang tax na binayad. Yung scheduled exportation nila, puntahan nyo, pabuksan nyo yung container. 10 out of 10, walang laman yung container. Kung meron man, basura. Kaya ang tawag dyan, ghost exportation or paper exportation. Totoo yan. Halos karamihan, hindi na lumalabas ng bansa. Kung meron man, kalahati lang, pero yung kalahati, naibenta na sa labas. Watch out for those. Yan lang po muna, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo, for that opening statement. Few items that you mentioned, and the committee will take note of the items that you mentioned in your opening remarks. In fact, I was just conferring with the head of our Senate Tax Research Office. Indeed, part of our powers in the oversight is to request for the letter of authority from the BIR. And in fact, in the past, I was advised that the LOAs are being submitted to the committee as part of its oversight functions. So,
So, meron na tayong LOA, Mr. Chair. Meron na tayong oversight committee para sa mga LOA.
meron tayong oversight committee here in the Senate. There are there are two, no? The one prescribed by the law is a joint oversight. However, I mentioned earlier that was not created because the House has not yet manifested their members. So we created our own here in the Senate, no? Motu proprio, through the Senate Committee Ways and Means. And because of its function as oversight, the BIR regularly submits to the committee a list of that LOA that you mentioned earlier. And the latest submission was when? Okay. But in the past, they have submitted. So since you have manifested your request and desire for the BIR to submit a summary and a list of their LOA, we are instructing the BIR to submit to the committee a list of the letter of authority that were issued to date.
Mr. Chair, nabanggit nung, ang pangalan tong kasama natin?
Si head ho natin yan.
Sa head.
Oo, head ho natin yan. Ng STSRO.
So, meron ng mga sinabmit na LOA sa Senate. Nasaan yung mga LOA na yan? Can I see it? And then, I just need to look at it and then make a follow-up what happened to those LOAs. Kasi 9 out of 10 yung mga LOA na yon na-areglo na.
I was advised, Senator Tulfo, that the submission is in line with the compliance to the oversight. But since the oversight has not yet been convened, so there's no submission. But in the past,
okay.
the past Senate, yung mga dating Senate, it's been traditionally being submitted. No? So ngayon, since you've requested for that submission, we're now directing the BIR to submit all the LOA. Anong gusto nyo? Last 5 years?
Yes.
Last 3 years?
In the last 3 years, and then dapat meron tayong assigned na group of people na para gumawa po ng thorough follow-up. Ano nangyari sa mga LOA na yon? Magkano kinita ng gobyerno kung meron man out of those LOAs? At kung wala, then dapat may makasuhan.
That's also what I asked the head of our STSRO, that the LOA, submission of the LOAs is one thing, the analysis is the most important. No? So we're also directing the STSRO to analyze the submission and to give us their analysis as well as recommendation, and also furnish a copy of that analysis to the members of this committee.
Madali naman, Mr. Chair, madali lang naman yun eh. Halimbawa, pinadalang LOA si ABC Company dahil meron siyang deficiency worth, say, para mas mapabilis tayo, 1 million. Then, sasabihin natin sa BIR, ano nangyari sa LOA ni ABC nung pinadala such and such date, ano ang naging result? Magkano binayad niya para sa gobyerno? And I'm telling you, Mr. Chair, sa 1 million halimbawa, ang pumunta sa gobyerno, barya. Pero ang pumunta doon sa agency, people in that agency na nagpadalang LOA, yun yung dambuhalang pera ang pumasok sa kanilang bulsa. Na short change yung ating gobyerno. Kaya nga sinasabi ko yung LOA na yan, Mr. Chair, it's about time i-monitor natin sa Senate. Dahil dyan nagkakapera ang maraming loko-loko at the expense of our government. Kawawa naman ating gobyerno. Lalo dito sa may ukay-ukay, Mr. Chair, not a single penny being paid. Not a single penny. Kumikita lang dito yung operator. And alam ng BIR, alam ng customs, andyan, nagkalat. Gala-gala kayo kahit sa lugar. Oo nga, kasi abot ka ng mga mahirap. Pero isipin din natin na namamatay din yung ating garment industry because they cannot compete. Itong mga ukay-ukay, napakamura. So itong mga local manufacturer ng RTWs, they can no longer compete. Some of them shut down even years ago. Ilan na kaya yung mga RTW factory locally na nag-shut down dahil nga hindi kayo mag-compete sa ukay-ukay? Alam natin na meron dyan na illegal at hindi nagbabayad ng tax, and yet we allow them to proliferate. And we're not doing anything. There's a law. PD 2033, 1986, RA 4653, 1966. Merong pagkakakulong ito, 2.5 years eh. 2.5 years to 2 years, fine of 20,000 pesos. This was back in 1966 pa. Dapat ngayon milyon at makulong pa ng ilang taon. Yun lang, Mr. Chair, we have to watch out those LOAs. And then, last na lamang, itong sa Caloocan, i-revisit natin yung pagbigay ng lisensya sa kanya. Mr. Chair, free na siya sa pag-import ng raw materials. And then pagdating sa pag-export niya, binibigyan siya ng tax break sa corporate income tax niya. So, lilitaw, zero. Ano pang kinita ng gobyerno natin dito? Adding insult to injury, binibigyan din siya ng break as far as pagsisweldo sa mga manggagawa. Libre pumasok yung kanyang mga kargamento. At kapag inilabas yan, libre din siya sa tax. Anong kagaguhan itong nangyari sa ating bayan? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Fo. I do agree that we all know this, and any honest taxpayer will probably know this, that the LOA is being weaponized by some unscrupulous individuals. And let's call a spade, no? And that's why I support the suggestion of Senator Raffy Tulpo to come up with an analysis on these LOAs being submitted in line with the oversight powers of the Senate. And that's why we're requesting and directing the BIR to submit to us all the LOAs in the last 5 years and last 3 years. And we're directing the STSRO to analyze and come up with recommendations to that effect. In the same manner, I also heard the good senator mentioned also ghost exportation and ghost and paper exportation. This should not happen because anything that goes out of the PEZA should pay customs duties as well as VAT. But obviously something is happening, no?
Mr. Chair, correction. Free po yung importation. Pero pag in-export na yan, wala pa rin silang babayad. However, dun sa income tax nung exporter. Kaso nga, wala namang lumalabas. And then, hindi na monitor ng BIR kung magkano yung na-export kung meron talaga. So, kung sasabihin ng exporter ng locator, ang na-export ko lang piso, doon siya magbabayad sa halagang piso. Pero wag ka, ang in-export niya, 100 million. Niloloko ang BIR. Yung BIR, kunyari, nagtatanga-tangahan sa magkanong kadahilanan. Yun. And then another thing pa, BIR, you guys are listening, customs banded warehouse. Kaya nga dapat may mga taga-customs dito, Mr. Chair. Isa pa yan na inaabuso. Same concept. Libre ang mapapasok ng mga raw materials and then finished product, i-export, magbabayad ng tax yung may-ari ng custom banded warehouse. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo sa BIR, ilan ba ang nasa listahan nyo ng mga customs banded warehouse? You should have that.
Sorry, Your Honor, we don't have the information, but we can have it also.
Pero aware ka na there's such thing as customs
Yes,
banded
sir.
warehouse.
Yes, sir.
At in your experience, nakakarinig ka na mga taga-customs banded warehouse na issue ng LOA.
I think so, Your Honor. Yes.
Then when you come back next time, then show me those LOAs. And I'm very interested to know what happened to those LOAs.
Yes, Your Honor.
Paano sila hinandle?
Yes,
Paano
actually,
kumita ang
yes,
gobyerno doon sa LOAs that was issued to these customs banded warehouse? Dalawa yan, Mr. Chair. Meron tayong sa PEZA at meron tayong customs banded warehouse. Yung special economic zone, sa loob ng special economic zone, nagtatayo sila ng locator. Itong customs banded warehouse, kahit na dyan sa gilid-gilid, pwede sila magtayo. Andito pala, Mr. Chair, si Mr. Ralph De Parin.
Good morning,
Is Mr. De Parin?
good morning, Senator Tulfo and Senator Gatchalian.
Ikaw pala, diyan ka lang, tahimik ka lang pala kanina. Hindi ka pala tumaas ng kamay.
I would
Pwede ba natin siya ipa-under oath, Mr. Chair?
If the senator requests will request the committee to conduct an oath to the representative of BOC. May I direct the Secretariat to conduct his oath to the representative of the BOC.
Tayo po tayo. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public hearing?
Okay, please acknowledge to the mic.
Yes, I do.
Right, go ahead, sir.
Sir Ralph, ilan po, more or less, ang nasa listahan ng Bureau of Customs na mga customs banded warehouse?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Senator, actually, I am not, I don't have the information right now, but I can ask the proper office po.
Okay. Para
I apologize
maniwalagan
po.
tayo lahat, kasi kanina pa ako nagbabagit na customs banded warehouse, yung special economic zone, import, and then export, etc. Mas maganda manggagaling sa'yo. Paano natitreat? How do you treat yung customs banded warehouse? Yung proseso, pagpasok ng raw materials, titingin ka pa sa libro. Ako, alam ko na, hindi na ako titingin sa libro mo.
Mr. Senator, I'm actually, I have to be frank po. Bagong hire lang din po ako so I'm still learning pa po actually.
Pag dumating po yung container nitong sa customs banded warehouse, nilalodge po yan sa EM2. E2M, sorry, E2M. Matapos may lodge yan sa E2M na sinasabi ko anong raw materials at saan pupunta. Dapat yan, guarded yan, sasamahan ng customs police papunta doon sa bodega. Pero kadalasan, hindi na sinasamahan. Bahala ka na dyan. Napag-usapan na. At dapat pagdating doon sa bodega, ipiprepare na yan for processing. Kaso doon sa bodega, wala namang processing plant, wala namang equipment to process that raw materials. Tama? Dapat periodically, kayo dyan sa Bureau of Customs, nag-inspect lahat ng mga may customs banded warehouse. Kasi yung iba, Mr. Chair, para mabigyan silang permit, mag-rent sila talaga ng bodega. At nandyan yung processing plant. Renta lang. After na ma-inspection, aprubahan, after 2 months, ililet go na yung parang show factory lang. Dapat, yun. Mano-mano, dapat computerized na. The moment nag-file ng entry, up to nagdating sa bodega na dapat may CCTV, and then up to after na yun po ay na-process, hanggang sa yun po ay i-re-export, tinatawagan niyo po yung BIR to let the BIR know na yung mga produktong pinasok ng libre sa tax, eto na, pwede nyo nang kalkulahin yung buwis. Nag-guess nyo po? Kaya nga, technical. Tsaka bago ka lang siguro, kahapon ka lang pumasok.
Few months pa lang po
Few
actually.
months. Kasi bumukas ka ng libro eh. Sige. Wala na. There's no point.
I
Sorry,
apologize po,
I
Mr.
don't blame him.
Senator.
There's no point talking to this gentleman. Pinadala dito yung talagang walang alam para ligawin tayo. Di ba? I don't blame you, sir. I don't blame you. I'm not gonna talk to you anymore kasi ayokong lalo ka madiin dito. Sorry. It's okay, sir.
Pasensya na po, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Senator.
Yes, sir. Okay po, sir.
But I will take note po kung ano po yung mga, ano ko po.
Kung sino
yung mga
nagpadala
pwede
dito sa-
niyong, hingiin na data po. I can of course it to the proper office po.
Sir, sino nagpadala sa iyo dito?
Legal service po, Senator.
Pagalitan mo.
Duly noted po.
Dapat siya dito nang nanginginig, hindi ikaw. Ikaw yung bago, ikaw ang pinaka-bago, ikaw yung pinadala rito.
Yes po. Duly noted po, Mr. Senator.
Okay, sige po. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Again, I'm also quite interested in this ghost exportation / paper exportation allegation. So we would like to, again, the committee is directing all the IPAs here present, CDC, PEZA, who are the other IPAs? Subic, I guess, no? The committee will send letters to all the IPAs to give us your position paper on this ghost exportation and paper exportation. This is happening within your jurisdictions, and would like to inquire if there is such phenomenon happening in your own jurisdictions. Senator Fo has requested to look at this issue, and the committee deems it necessary to drill down and to look at this issue. We'll not go into the details now, but please prepare your documents and your position paper to that effect. At the same time, we're also directing the customs to give us a list of the customs bonded warehouses operating in the country. There's also allegations that these customs bonded warehouses are being used as a way to smuggle in products, meaning they go into the bonded warehouse, they go out without paying any taxes. So we'd like to also inquire from the customs all the operating CBWs in the country, paying special focus to the one that was mentioned by Senator Tulfo in Caloocan. No? Just take note of that CBW. With that, so those are the three requests from Senator Tulfo, and the committee is directed to take note of that, and we will tackle that those items in the next hearing.
Mr. Chair, last na lamang po, ito, example tong sa OPCM. Okay, na pinuntahan ng BIR. Itong OPCM is One Subic Premier Manufacturing Corporation and Hong Sim International Corporation. OPCM, One Subic Premier Manufacturing Corporation, and HIC, Hong Sim International Corporation. Okay. Now, nung puntahan po ito ng BIR, they admitted na hindi sila nagmamanufacture ng cigarette. Kasi ang deal, magpapasok sila ng raw materials to produce cigarettes, and then those cigarettes, pag na-produce na, i-re-export. Nung puntahan ng BIR, wala silang nakitang machine, wala silang nakitang mga sigarilyo na for export, kundi mga papel and printer na nagpiprint ng mga pangalan ng kung ano ng sigarilyo. At yun ay kanilang i-re-export. Yun ay mga papel na lang. Karton, boxes, na sinasabing kunyari, ABC cigarette. Tapos karton yan. Pag binuksan mo karton, puro wrapper. Wala talagang sigarilyo. Yun sinasabi ko, sample of paper export. Basura ang in-export. Nakita ng BIR to. Kaya nga, sa next hearing, gusto kong malaman anong nangyari doon sa ginawa ng BIR na pagpunta dito sa OPCM. Same thing with the Victoria Wave Special Economic Zone sa may Caloocan na nakitaan din sa Tala City, Caloocan City, na nakitaan din ng BIR ng mga violations. Anong nangyari doon sa ginawang pagpunta ng BIR na may nakita sila mga violations? How did they handle those violations? How was it handled? Anong naging resulta? Kumita bang gobyerno? O lalo na mayagpag itong dalawang kumpanya? Tuloy-tuloy ang violations. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, we direct the committee secretary to send all the IPAs a letter requesting for a position paper on the ghost exports and the paper exports. And please instruct them to also prepare for a hearing later on. Okay? Thank you, Senator Raffy, and let me put on record my support to all the requests of Senator Raffy Tulfo. These are realities on the ground, and it's also part of the jurisdiction of the Committee on Ways and Means to look at all of these anomalies happening in our country.